Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Enjoying your day, making it beautiful, making it positive. Do something positive for those that you love and all that stuff. I hope it's all wonderful and everything and stuff and all that goodness and everything. Anyway, man, oh man, what a day it has been. And the day ain't even over yet for me. You know what I mean? This ain't even my whole night type of situation. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hope you guys are all doing well. I told you guys I'd be back on to chop it up with you guys about a few things, especially this affidavit that we just looked at. I do have something planned for tomorrow, sometime in the late morning, early afternoon time, hopefully, God willing, if everything goes according to plan. I will have somebody very special on to discuss the affidavit, the trial, what we should be expecting walking into it, all that stuff. So I got some really, really great stuff coming up tomorrow for you guys, and I cannot wait to share that with you guys, okay? But before we jump into everything, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping because we got some things to look at, some old things, some new things, and this burning question. I feel like more and more questions are popping off because of this affidavit. Now that we have proof of how law enforcement zeroed in and did their process of elimination, how did they get this mother lover? How did they do it? That's what I'd like to know, right? So we got a little bit in here. I mean, a lot of it, actually. 20 pages that I read to you guys this morning when it was officially dropped. But obviously, within those 20 pages, even more questions start sparking off. So we're going to talk about a few of those tonight, all right? And I may open up the phone lines. The phone lines aren't open yet right now, but I may open up the phone lines for a small second to hear your thoughts on what we learned this morning with this affidavit. I mean, everything that people were speculating, hypothesizing, theorizing, okay, conspiracizing too, has been debunked or confirmed in this affidavit. But there's still some things that are still a little bit weird to me. So we're going to get into it. So don't forget to hit that like button down below. Just a little bit of housekeeping, okay? That'd be really helpful. All right. Hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes as you guys start to file in. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to every single last one of you lovely, beautiful, beautiful people out there. And do not forget to crush that subscribe button, all right? Be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. And if you feel like it and you want to join the family membership, become a member of this family, another way of supporting this channel is by simply hitting that join button down below and supporting the channel, all right? It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated, all right? But let's get into a little bit of this because, obviously we got a lot to talk about, all right? There's 20 pages of a lot to talk about, okay? The affidavit for probable cause, the probable cause affidavit was released to the public, to all of us ravenous savages out here that were frothing at the mouth, waiting for something, right? Waiting for just a little bit of something, a little morsel, little breadcrumbs, right? We've all been starving ourselves for a little something. And guess what? That affidavit came out, and man, was it thicker than a snicker. Let's take a look at this again, y'all. All right? And it was thicker than a snicker, but I will ask, did it satiate? Did it quench y'all thirst or no? Or did it just give you a little bit of a amuse bouche? Okay? Not even an appetizer. Just cleanse the palate. That's what I'd like to ask you guys. Did it make you feel good or no? Obviously, it's very disturbing hearing what was said in this affidavit. It's off-putting, it's shocking, it's heartbreaking. I'm sure it triggered a lot of people too. Okay? But did you walk away sassified? That's what I want to know. Okay? So, but there's some interesting information, pieces of information that was in here. Okay? And a lot of things, like I said, were debunked. A lot of things that we wanted to know, etc. Very, very interesting. But we're going to go back into some of these things again. Of course, we have to remember. Again, we have to remember. All right. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, actually, let me say this. My question, one of my main questions that I was going to ask later on, but I'm going to ask it right now because I just like getting ahead of myself because that's just who I be. My question for y'all is this. Is this everything? Within this plausible cause affidavit, did they give us everything? Reason why, I'm going to explain here in just a minute. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I have to ask that. Is everything in here? So let's get into some of these bullets real quick. We're not going through the whole 20 pages, all right? We now know that they triangulated. They used cell phone data, cell phone towers. They used security cameras. They used everything you can think of and then some. Through those, it almost seemed like they just took all these pieces to this puzzle. Little video footage here from this coffee shop to this Ring camera from this door over here to the cell phone data over here, and they just threw it all over the floor. They made one big ass mess on the floor, and then they just started to move things and shift things together. And they're just moving these pieces around, and they said, okay, now we know that he was here at this time, and he went here, and then he went there. He turned off his phone at this time. Then he drove off for an hour. Then he did this in 20-25 minutes, kick rocks back into the car, drove around, did a loop-de-loo. He went the long way home. Then about a few minutes later, turned the cell phone on. We have all the data. We all have all the information, right? But it still makes you wonder, is it everything? So, I'll explain more here in a second, but let's take a look at this. All right. So, according to I'm forgetting Brett Payne, okay, the acting peace officer, he was one of the people that was at the crime scene and went into great detail, all right, of this crime scene. So T-dubs, everybody, but we're going back into the affidavit, okay? Just we're gonna go in and out of it for a minute, okay? Mainly this big chunk, these few pages in the very beginning, all right? So he entered the Kingside residence through the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. He and Officer Smith then walked upstairs to the second floor. Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned through Xana driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room that it was Xana Knodl's bedroom. Just before this room, where there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway, as I approach the room, I see a body, later identified as Xana Knodl's, lying on the floor. Now, I want to point this out. She was outside of the room. That's one thing. Like I said, I was looking at all this information, and I'm reading you guys really, really quick the affidavit, I didn't really get to process a whole lot of things. So we're kind of going back into it just with a tiny bit of a fine tooth comb, not super fine. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and focus on every emphasis on every syllable. Okay. That's a joke, guys. But as you realize, he approached the room. I could see a body later identified. So as he approached the room, because he was just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, there she was on the floor. So I wanted to point that out. She wasn't inside the room. So something happened. She heard something maybe. Or she was running to maybe get help because she was maybe hurt. Very interesting and sad, of course. All right. Or at least that's how I'm reading it. All right. But then also in the room, so she may have tried to get out, but in the room, Ethan was found. He was inside the room. And of course, they already said, due to the autopsy report, that it was sharp force injuries, which is absolutely devastating and sad. And I think that this is probably, Mayan, I hate to say it like that, but you might be 110% correct. That maybe, I hate to say it like that, but maybe this monster, this piece of work, went after maybe Ethan first, and then maybe her after. Went for this, what he would assume is the strongest person in the room. Maybe. It's sad. Okay. TW, guys. T-dubs. All right. Okay, I followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined as Kaylee Gonzalez. After, of course, Gonzalez's room. That's what he ends up calling it that throughout the rest of this part of this report. I later learned from the review of Officer Nunez's body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to, and we already know, belonged to Kaylee and Jack D. I found out from my interview with Jack D. There's a lot of interviews with a lot of people, but there's one person that they don't mention at all in this report. Find out who I'm about to talk about. But moving on, the bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As I entered the bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Kaylee, Madison were deceased with visible wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Madison's right side when viewed from the door. It's so sad. The sheath, sorry, I'm thinking of the perspective that he's talking about. So sad. So the sheath was later processed and had K-bar UMC or USMC and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. Now, we already know that this mother lover left some DNA on the button snap of this knife sheath. Now, I said this earlier in the show, on this morning's show, but I'm going to say it again. He clearly got this as a gift. He received this as a gift. He got it like he got it as something. Maybe he bought it a long time ago, but at the same time, he was sitting there handling it, messing with it for a while, so much that he forgot to keep it completely clean. Or if he was going to touch it, that he should have touched it with a glove, especially if he knew he was about to do a crime as heinous as this. Think about it. To me, I feel like this K-bar weapon with the leather sheath was something that he was proud of. It was his pride and joy. That's what I think. And then, of course, this unthinkable thing happens, right? He does this thing and he doesn't realize, maybe he cleaned it off, but he didn't realize that underneath, because he's used it before on his hip, unbuckling it and using it, you know what I'm saying? He didn't realize that he had a little bit of DNA underneath the snap button on the knife sheath. Then the other thing is, he left that mother lover behind. Sounds like a really smart guy, a really smart dumb guy, or a really dumb smart guy, however you want to say it. And remember, they have been donning him, panning him, naming him a damn genius, right? They're saying he's so brilliant. So how can a brilliant dude make a stupid mistake like this? If he had the perfect crime set up. This is a dumb, smart guy. This is a dumb, smart guy. We already heard how much he's sitting here going, oh, I need to exact how amazing I am, how smart I am, right? Not so much. He's a dumb, smart guy. All right, I guess. Or he's just a dumbass. We could just do that too. Yeah, that feels better in my soul to say it like that. He's just a straight up dumbass. But moving on. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow PD officers, ISP detectives, so Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agents. Two of the interviews included BF and DM. Both BF and DM were inside the residence at the time of the homicides and were roommates. They were the surviving roommates. Now, what's interesting is that, well, we hear a lot of people in their interviews, but we don't hear one person. And I find that a little bit weird in this report, just in this report. And let me say this really quick before y'all start saying something. I'm not alluding to anything sinister. I'm not. I just find it interesting. And this is the reason why I'm asking, did everything get into this report? Did everything? Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's get into this again. Based on numerous interviews, all right, I have learned the following. So on the evening, we already know Ethan and Xana were both seen by BF. This is the only thing that we hear about BF saying anything. Okay? One of the surviving roommates. All right? It's the only thing that we hear so far from BF. So, went to a party, 9 p.m. They came back home at 1:45 a.m. on November 13th. So she also says that approximately at 1:45, Ethan and Xana returned to the King Road residence. She also stated that Ethan, of course, didn't live there. He was the boyfriend. All right. Now, also, on top of that, Kaylee and Madison were at a local bar. We already know all of this, the bulk of this. They went there around 10 p.m. They came back home at 1:30 from going to a food truck, or they were at the corner pub or the corner club bar, kicking it, living the life that like is golden. They went to the food truck, got some food, got a like a Uber, okay, a rideshare taxi took that home, and they were home at approximately 1:56 a.m. at the home and at 1:56 a.m. Now, DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. And asleep, or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This was the exception of Xana, who got a late night meal. All right, she had some munchies from a DoorDash order. She picked up some food from a DoorDash at around 4 a.m. Now, this is all where all the stuff gets really, really creepy here. Okay. So DM, so this is Dylan, of course, stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. So she was upstairs on the second floor. Dylan stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Kaylee playing with their dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which was located on the third floor. So here it is. She was on the second floor sleeping. She woke up by the dog maybe barking, sounding playful, maybe, right? Upstairs, maybe it was right above her. This is what I'm assuming. This was right above her. Maybe she could hear all the patter of the feet and the hopping around, maybe, and maybe some footsteps doing this. All right. All right. So then I guess maybe she goes downstairs. And that's the part that I'm confused about. So after a short time later, because she was on the second floor. So a short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed that this could also have been Xana, as her cell phone indicated she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. So Dylan stated she looked out of her bedroom, which is still, from my understanding, still on the second floor. She looks out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Dylan stated she opened the door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Now, we did talk about this earlier, and this is really interesting. My question is, why would anybody say to anyone, "It's okay, I'm going to help you"? Unless, and I said it earlier, and I'll say it again now, okay? I'll say it again now. Either this is the piece of trash doing this, saying that I'm gonna set you free type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or this is Ethan trying to console Xana because Xana's freaking out because maybe Xana saw something happen or saw a guy, or she's injured and he's trying to, and Ethan is trying to help her. Like, I'm going to help you. It's okay. I got you. It's going to be all right. Maybe trying to calm her down. I don't know. I'm just playing those possibilities, right? Obviously, this is what we're hearing from the affidavit. That's all we can do is just imagine, look into it, and ask questions, right? And I could be completely wrong. Okay. And actually, I gave you a whole bunch of possibilities. So maybe one of those possibilities is right, or I could be completely wrong. Okay. But it is very disturbing to hear that. Okay. So now I want to say this again, and I'm not saying anything, but let me say this too, real quick, y'all. I am not attacking nobody, none of these surviving students, nothing, not nothing. I'm just asking questions. So tranquilo, time out before y'all start kind of trying to come at me in some type of way. Hold up. I'm just asking the questions, y'all. And I'm not alluding to anything sinister from them. Okay? So, one thing that is weird, though, is that they said that her bedroom, let me say this again, she was originally went to sleep in her bedroom, which was on the second floor. Southeast side of the second floor, unless there's some strange typo here. Okay. So let's get back here. She woke up, she went out, she heard somebody say, it's okay. Or she first said, I heard somebody say, someone's here. Then she heard somebody else say, that sounded like Xana. Or sorry, she heard a male voice say something like within the sound of, it's okay, I'm going to help you. And I'm leaning on the side of, this is some piece of trash that said this disgusting. Like he was like, I'm about to set you free in a very messed up and sinister way. That's just my theory, my personal theory that I'm sitting on for right now. But moving on, this is still on the second floor that Dylan is still on. So approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located on the 1112 King Road, a residence approximately to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times, starting at 4:17 a.m. Now, what's interesting is, from what we understand so far, okay, Bryan, allegedly, this monster, I'm going to say right now, went into the house around 4 a.m., played around with the dog. And apparently the dog was Gucci for 17 minutes until something set him off. Then the dog started barking. Again, dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17. So this piece of work walked in, allegedly played with the dog, went in, started doing very bad things, and the dog started to bark. That's kind of how I'm seeing this. Let's continue. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Kernodle's bedroom. So Dylan stated she opened the door for a third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. This male walked right past Dylan, who is seriously at this moment on the second floor. I repeat, she was on the second floor. She opened the door to her bedroom that was on the second floor. Okay. This piece of work walked right by her on the second floor. She stood in a frozen shock phase. She stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. Then Dylan locked herself in her room after seeing the mail on the second floor. Unless she ran to the first floor at this time, but I'm very confused. Now, I'm not trying, like, again, I'm saying this. I am not saying anything bad. I get the frozen fear. I understand being scared and all that, but I also need to point something out. Hold on, let me finish this paragraph, and I need to point. We're going to go back. Okay, we're going back to Callie. Hold up. So she locked herself in her room after seeing the mail. Understandably, Dylan did not state that she recognized the mail. This leads investigators to believe that this monster left the scene. Now, let me point something out. Now, I don't know the whole layout of the crib, of the entire house, all third floor, 3 floors, etc. But from what we were understanding, she was on the first. They said that they were both on the first floor. So why are we hearing that she was on the second floor, y'all? Please make that make sense. Mims. Now, I'm not saying that she's like some evil doer. Hold up. Time out. Hold up. I'm not saying that she was up to no good. So before y'all jump down me throat and get all excited and get all mad at me and stuff, I'm just asking the questions. I am reading this in black and white, and we all have to ask these questions. They said in the very beginning, and I state, her bedroom, she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. It's on the second floor, people. So how did she get to this first floor? Then let's not forget this part. Let's not forget this part. All right? Let's talk about this really quick, okay? Now, she opened up the door. Let's talk about the third time she opened up the door. She opened up the door. She heard crying and saw an ironclad, a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered this person's mouth and nose, walking towards her. He walked right by her. Bushy eyebrows walked right by her, going to the back sliding glass door. I don't know why I can't talk right now, but let me say something. He gone. Him gone. That's when he's gone. That's when he left. Remember, they were found on the second. I hate to say it like this, and I hate to be so aggressive. I'm sorry. Let me calm down. But they were found, Ethan and Xana, on the second floor. And from the way I'm reading this, the way I understand this, Xana was on the outside in the hallway. Was she not? And Ethan was inside the room. So during this time, when he walked out the sliding glass door, he had already done this unthinkable deed. 25 minutes tops, him gone. He walked right by Dylan, walked out the sliding glass door. He had already done the deed. So all these unalivings, at least on the second floor, she didn't see nothing. He walked right by her. Now, again, I don't know the layout, but think about it for a second. Does that make sense? Mims. Now, I want to point this out. Number one, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not trying to point any venom or anything bad towards this woman. I can only imagine this young girl. I can only imagine what she's going through right now. But I'm just saying that if you look at the course of action here, does it make sense? I mean, I'm going to go back to this again. I'm going to go back to the top. Because like I said, all of this, it's not working right. Unless it was pitch black. Unless the whole house was pitch black. But you're telling me that she wouldn't have seen someone on the ground right there in the hallway? Like I said, I'm just mapping it out in my own head. And I could be completely wrong again. But this is the reason why I brought this up to you guys, because I'm trying to work this out with my family, right? And y'all can help me out, okay? Truth be told, just said nothing makes sense in this. So you're looking at this affidavit. Justice Jane just said exactly. Yes, I'm wondering what the F is going on here. Okay, again, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the very beginning, because everything's in the very beginning, as they say in mystery movies. All right, so they entered the bottom floor door on the north side of the building. They walked up the stairs to the second floor. He was directed, according to Brett Payne, okay? He was directed down the hallway on the west bedroom on the second floor, which he later learned this was Xana's room, okay? Just before this room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached, again, let me say this, as I approached the room, I could see Xana lying on the floor. Xana was, of course, passed. She had passed with wounds, which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon, by this K-bar. Again, I'm just reading it verbatim. Says just before this room was a bathroom door on the south wall of the of the hallway. I don't know why I keep saying highway, but of the hallway. As I approached the room, bang, see a body. To me, it makes me think that maybe she's on a little bit on the outside. Maybe she's half in the hallway, half in the bedroom. Actually, if you think about it, he also said just before this room there was a bedroom door or bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, so it almost seems like he's by the bathroom door. Then, also in the room was Ethan. Now, so I'm wondering, was she outside or was she inside? Was she outside or was she inside this room? And of course, everyone else is gone, right? They've all passed by the time she sees this shadowy figure. Trying to pull that up again. She hears somebody say, someone's there, someone is here. She hears, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Then she goes back outside again or out of her room again and sees this figure in black clothing and a mask that's covering basically his whole face. You can only see his eyes and his eyebrows, walking right past her. Now, my question is, were the doors left wide open, or were they closed? Was Xana on the outside on the floor, or was she still in the bedroom on the floor as well? The way I see it, it makes me ask a lot of questions. That's all I'm saying. But then again, she was on the second floor. Another piece of information here where she is on the second floor. She was not on the first floor, babies, like they've been reporting. She was on the second floor. Okay. So the combination of, and so he left the scene. He walked right by her. So as he walked right by her and he went out the sliding glass door, He had already done the deed within 20, 25 minutes. Again, we see it right here. I'm going to read it to you guys in a second, but again, still doesn't make any sense. So now get this, okay? So the combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads from BF and DM's phone, and video of a suspect video, as described below, leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. So within 25 minutes, this piece of work walked in, did this, took the lives of 4 students, walked briskly by another student by the name of Dylan, out the back sliding glass door. Creepy. So during the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent footprint. So a footprint, I'm assuming that was red, if you get what I'm saying. This was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP forensic team by first using a presumptive blood test and then amino black, a protein that detects the presence of cellular material. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Vans type shoe sole just outside the door of DM's bedroom, located on the second floor. Dylan's bedroom, second floor. Okay. Now, thing is I have, of course, we already know a bunch of other things and the cellular data and all that. But one thing I wanted to make abundantly clear is that, because I know a lot of people are sitting there going like, what happened? How did this all go down? So on and so forth. So I wanted to go through the nitty gritty one more time. But one thing I still have to ask. Why did it take 6 hours to make a phone call to 911? If you have a random dude walk into your home covered in all black, and maybe you don't know anything, maybe it's pitch black, you're scared, maybe you never know, you might be under the influence as well. Let's put that into consideration as well. You could be high as hell, you could be high, drunk, whatever. Come on, it's college. It's the weekend. You're a college student having a great old time. You combined recreationals and a little bit of alcohol and just being absolutely shocked. It could throw you the F off. Indubitably. I can't believe I just said that. But indubitably. Throw them off completely. Right? And that thrown off. And something Hash Cats just said, yeah, from what we understand so far, no one screamed. Some whimpering, and then all this. And you never know. But then again, there could have been more stuff going on, but we didn't hear it. Or sorry, people didn't hear it. They heard a dog barking and all that, but you never know. And also that, that whole phrase or that whole question, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around, does it make a sound type thing? Unfortunately, maybe it's this situation too. You never know. They may have screamed. They may have done everything you can think of for their lives, but no one heard it. You got to remember, those 2 students, which we know really nothing about so far, had a weekend too. They had their lives too. They were having a good old time doing their own thing, right? You never know. They could have drank themselves to the point of oblivion, didn't hear anything, Dylan happens to just be wide awake when this all goes down. She could have been heavily under the influence of anything at that time. It's late at night. She's tired, so it's sleep, maybe some liquor. She hears this noise. What the hell? And then, this guy whisked by her, not noticing anything, but she's like, oh my God. And just pure reaction, runs back in her bedroom and locks the door. On the second floor, by the way. I know I keep saying that, but everyone keeps saying she was on the first. Nope, she was on the second floor, according to this affidavit. I can only imagine what this young girl's going through, but it still makes me wonder, why did one of the surviving roommates who happened to see this monster flee the scene, why did it take them 6 hours to call 911? And what's interesting is, from my understanding, the 911 call wasn't her on the phone. It was somebody else on the phone calling 911 on her phone. So that's why I'm saying, why? Why did it take so long? And I keep thinking that, Shari said 9 hours. Was it 9 hours? Oh, it was about, yeah, right. Yeah, it was about 9 hours. You could be right. She could have, and you got to remember, under the influence, maybe. I'm just throwing that, like I said, this is hypothesizing, okay? Conspirizing everybody, all right? But what are the chances of her being just blasted? I'm just being real. It's a weekend. You got Sunday, you could sleep it off, so on and so forth. So she's out doing her thing. We don't know what they did. We don't know what Bethany and Dylan did that night. We don't know anything about them right now. So they could have gone and got blasted. Came home. She gets shocked. She locks the door out of fear and passes out. Kind of scared, probably huddled in a corner, scared out of her mind and blitzed out of her skull, and passes out. And then when she comes to, I mean, I've seen people do some really dumb, like I've seen some people do some stupid stuff drunk, like gone drunk. Okay, not just a little tipsy. Little tipsy's no. I mean, just gone. Okay, I've seen people just walk into a corner. Clearly, it's not the bathroom, but they think it is, and they just take, as we were saying yesterday, takes a whiz. I've seen that firsthand. Okay, I've seen that kind of stuff. People do stupid stuff when they're gone. And you got to remember, these are kids. This could be, Cinderella. She could have been blackout drunk. Saw this, remembering these things, but it happened so fast. And, she's trying to get some sleep and she gone. She drunk. And then this happens. She freaks out. She closes the door, locks the door behind her, huddles off in the corner, maybe goes and hides in the closet, whatever it may be, out of fear. But then as she sits there waiting, she falls asleep. It could happen. I'm not sitting here saying that it's 100% the most logical thing to do, but out of your drunk mind, maybe. But it still makes you wonder, why 9 hours? Why they're saying 6 here, but we all know that the phone calls didn't start happening until, if I'm correct, noon. So why 9 hours? Why did it take so doggone long? Okay, but let's take a look at this article. Okay, why did surviving roommate who came face to face with this monster wait 6 hours before calling 911? And why did he choose them as his victims? The questions left unanswered by dramatic Idaho affidavit. And it was one hell of an affidavit. I will be real. Okay, so of course we already know the police released this arrest affidavit revealing why they have pointed the finger at this monster BK more than a month after the 4 students were slain in their beds. The explosive document shows how painstakingly work by, or painstakingly, I don't know, how much work, all right, by Moscow PD and the FBI by tracking down the 28-year-old criminal justice graduate student. He was denied bail today during a brief court appearance in Moscow shortly after the affidavit outlining some of the case against him was shared online. Now, we already know all of that stuff, and it's weird to see him smirk. That smirk. Meh. Blah. Just gross. Gross. Anyway, so here's the piece that I'm wondering about. And again, I'm not knocking Dylan. I can only imagine what Dylan and Bethany are going through. It sounds like Bethany was passed out. She was asleep. Maybe a hard sleep, right? But why did Dylan wait 6 hours before calling 911 despite coming face to face with this monster? Surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen is under pressure to reveal why she failed to call the authorities earlier. And let me say this too. I mean, despite coming face to face with a bushy eyebrowed monster. Now, I want to say this really quick. I can only imagine what she's going through right now. She must be overwrought with guilt right now. I guarantee you she's thinking about everything every 5 seconds. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, if she did, if she didn't, so on and so forth, right? I can only imagine the amount of pain that both of these students are going through right now, okay? But it is still a burning question that we all have. Someone asked it on the show earlier when I read the affidavit for the first time live. I didn't even process it until I saw it in a question. And I was like, yeah, wait a second. She waited hours. She waited hours before she called 911. Damn. Why? That doesn't make any sense. And then everybody else caught on to it as well. They said, yeah, this don't make no sense. But again, it doesn't mean that there's some foul play, guys. Doesn't mean foul play. I can see how people are thinking it, though. All right? But I think she's an innocent, but it's very strange. Let's look at this. The probable cause affidavit revealed that Mortensen, who lived through the attack with Bethany Funky, heard several scuffles throughout the night and opened her door. Mortensen told the police that she saw a suspect dressed in all black. We already know that. Covering this in a mask covering his face, and heard one of her housemates say, "There's someone here." This is Dylan. She also heard the suspect say, well, I don't know why they said that. She just said she heard, according to the affidavit, she said she heard a male voice say, so I guess it is him, right? So they also heard the suspect say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you," as he wandered through the house committing the atrocity. So they confirmed the 911 call was made by one of the surviving roommates at almost noon, 11:58 a.m., who requested for help for an unconscious person, though it has not been confirmed who spoke to the police. And that's the part that's very interesting. So someone made a phone call. One of the surviving roommates made a phone call saying something about an unconscious person. And that part is still questionable as well. What the F? Why? Why is this happening? But they haven't said who called. And I guarantee you, one of the parts of this, the reason why that they didn't put out this information early with Dylan and all that, because you know for a fact the public would have turned this into an absolute travesty and would have gone in. Like right now, we're all asking the question, but imagine everybody and their mama doxing this girl, going in on her, trying to say that she's the one who did it, especially without having a suspect in custody right now. Imagine if this information came out. If they said Dylan said what and this, that, and the third, oh my God, she's the one. Now let's go and find out exactly who Dylan Mortensen is. So on and so far. So on and so forth. All right. Imagine that. Imagine that. So thank God they didn't put out this information until just today. Let's keep it 100. All right. It has raised the question of why Mortensen didn't contact authorities sooner, with some arguing that she may have been frozen by fear. And that's what it says in the affidavit. She said she was frightened. I do believe that. But it seems strange that, I don't know about you, but even when I feel like I'm about to poop my pants, I'm thinking phone. Like something like that. I'm thinking 911. Quick. I don't care. I'm picking it up quick. Or I'm screaming, hey Siri. I don't want to say it right now because my phone, my phone just went off by saying that. But you know what I'm saying. You go, hey, such and such, call, 911. And then all of a sudden, you see what I'm saying? Something, right? Something. But she didn't do it for hours, several hours. So the roommate did not contact authorities for 6 hours, despite hearing several of her roommates in distress, as well as witnessing the monster. And of course, we already seen this part. Mortensen told cops she was awoken by 4 a.m. by what sounded like victim Kaylee playing with her dog on the 3rd floor. Now, I'm going to say this again. I think that was the monster playing with the dog. Remember, this was a very sociable dog. That's what I think. The amount of parties that they had, the amount of people that were in and out of that house, I think that was a very jovial, social butterfly type of dog. That's what I think. That's what I believe. So I think he walked in, showed him a whole bunch of love, closed the door, then he did what he did. But again, my question still remains. It's still burning, the burning question. Why? Why was there not a phone call, a 911 call for 6 hours? Now, I've played out some ideas, or I played out some theories that I've already played with, presented to you guys just a second ago. And maybe there's some other theories out there for sure. I will be opening up the phone lines here in just a little bit, okay? But I did want to ask that question. Can fear really stop you from doing something that maybe is I feel kind of a knee-jerk reaction, or something that you should instantly think of? 911. 911. Or no? This makes me question a lot of things. That does not mean that she's the one doing the thing. But it does make me wonder nonetheless, as far as what the F is going on here. I got a couple videos that I want to show you guys, because obviously there has been a lot of discussion lately. And of course, finding out the information, the cell phone data, etc. There's a lot that we need to kind of break down.
We do know that affidavit.
So I wanted to share this with you guys because, a lot of other news stations have been doing an amazing job, breaking this down for all of us to understand, etc. Just knowing about how things were triangulated, how things were covered, so on and so forth. So I wanted to share this with you guys. We're going to watch it as a family. Let me know what your thoughts are. Keep the comments going. Please do not forget, hit that like button down below. All right. Let's see it go past 1K. All right. A like does not cost a thing. Hit that like button. Hit it. And then also do not forget to hit that subscribe button, babies. All right. Be great to have you part of the Pascal Show family. Again, I want to point out one piece of information that was completely, well, there's a couple pieces of information before we go into this. Couple pieces of information that were said in the affidavit that said that completely debunked the theories that were out here. One, that theory that was being shared all over the place about the knife sheath being found underneath Ethan, that's wrong. It was found on the 3rd floor next to Madison. Another thing that they were saying was that these 2 girls were living on the 1st floor. Those 2 girls did not live on the 1st floor. Dylan lived on the 2nd floor. So there must have been a bedroom on the 1st floor, and that's it. It's very weird, right? There was the other piece that we heard saying something about Dylan or someone, one of the girls, opening up the door and screaming at the shadowy figure to shut the F up. That, according to the affidavit, is not true at all. That also is false, according to what we have in the affidavit. But this is the reason why I'm asking about this. This is the reason why I asked in the very beginning. Is the affidavit saying everything? Is it everything? Did they give us everything? Because remember, Bethany Funky, or Bethany Funk, however you pronounce that, there's nothing about her interviews at all. When they're asking her, interrogating her, etc., there's nothing in that affidavit of her talking about her perspective. Zero. About the night. We don't hear anything from Bethany in that affidavit. So the question I have is, what's up with that? How much was redacted if it was redacted? Because there's got to be more than just that. Unless they felt that this would be a nice big piece of pie. Nice big slice of pie. Blap, blap. Here you go. Here you go, public. Eat it up. You damn savages. Maybe that's what it was. Priya, how you doing, sweetheart? She said not everything is in the affidavit. So there it is. Because you got to remember, they interviewed Jack D, which was the ex-boyfriend. They interviewed Bethany, and we didn't hear anything from them really, except, oh yeah, he was he co-owned the dog. And Bethany confirmed about the Kaylee and Madison and Xana and Ethan's time of when they went to these parties and when they went to the corner club bar. And that's it. But Dylan's the only one with all the information. What happened on her side? Whoops. Audrey Hudson just said page 2 was completely redacted. Now that's ridiculous, y'all. That's just ridiculous. Farron, thank you so much for the 10. Thank you for being a true journalist on this and bringing the facts, my friend. What's up, Farron? Can't wait for you to bring on attorney Danny on to dive into it further. Keep up the great work, friend. Like the video. Thank you so much, Farron. I do appreciate it. I will be going into all of the super chats and all that here in just a minute. Thank you guys so much for all the support, all the super chats. Keep them coming. I will be reading them, I promise, because I want to, bounce some ideas off of you guys, and I want to hear your thoughts about this as well. Yes, hopefully I will be doing this, having Danny, lawyer, attorney, Danny on, coming on to the show. Hopefully, we're still trying to make some things happen, figure out a time. If not, I am going to be bringing on, I'm working on scheduling. I'm trying to work on scheduling issues with 2 different attorneys because I want to talk about this affidavit. I want to talk about what we could be looking at in the upcoming trial and all that stuff. And also the fact that they only have the sheath, the knife sheath. Is that enough to really stick these charges on this monster. That's something I'm trying to figure out. Now, I'm working on the time. It may be Danny. It may be somebody else. I'm working on schedules. But I have something very special for you guys tomorrow for sure. Okay? So keep your eyes open and your ears pricked up. All right? So let's get into this video. I appreciate all y'all. She said, Danny is amazing. If not, I got you, boo. Thank you. I got a few lawyer feelers out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But Danny is a prosecutor. She's going to know the ins and outs of all of it. Of it all. Yes, you're right. Yes, it'd be great to have her on. We're going to work on that for sure. Okay. But let's continue. Let's look at this video. I'm going to get to the super chats. I promise. Let's look at this video right here. Hit the number one. Let me know y'all can hear this. Let's rock and roll.
We do know that affidavit reveals police were able to use technology to ping Kohberger's cell phone in the area of the crime scene roughly a dozen times before the murders. And cell phone data and surveillance video helped track him all the way to Pennsylvania. And we, of course, know that's where he was ultimately arrested. NewsNation's Kelly Beeson has more on how law enforcement put all of these pieces together.
On November 13th, the morning 4 University of Idaho students were found stabbed to death inside of this home. Investigators say the suspect's vehicle, later determined to be a white Hyundai Elantra, made 3 initial passes by the residents and is later seen departing the area at a high rate of speed. Authorities later reviewed video footage from the Washington State University campus where Bryan Kohberger was studying criminal justice and observed a vehicle matching the one seen on video near the Idaho crime scene. According to investigators, the car was traveling from WSU toward Moscow, Idaho around 2:44 a.m. and was later seen again near WSU campus around 5:25 a.m. In the days after the crime, the same vehicle was tracked at 3 different locations, captured on a license plate reader in Colorado on December 13th.
Hello, how you doing? How y'all doing today?
At 2 traffic stops in Indiana on December 15th. And finally, in surveillance video in Pennsylvania the following day, the state where his parents lived and where Kohberger was arrested on Friday. Authorities also used Kohberger's cell phone records to link him to the crime. Kohberger's phone was near the victim's residence at least 12 times between June of 2022 and November 13th of 2022, court records say. All of those occasions, except for one, took place in the late evening and early morning hours. Kohberger's phone was near his residence in Pullman, Washington at 2:47 a.m. on November 13th, but did not appear on a network again until approximately 4:48 a.m. when it was detected south of Moscow, Idaho. Around 5:30 a.m., the phone was again detected in Pullman, which authorities say is consistent with the phone traveling back to the Kohberger residence.
Thank you for watching.
Have mercy, y'all. Imagine that, okay? Imagine that going down. You are following this guy. You're doing everything you can. And then suddenly you're able to, I don't know how they came up with like all of this. This is insane. Because you remember there were some other places that were like, yeah, if they had asked us for footage, we would have given it to them. We usually delete our stuff after a week or so on and so forth. It's wild to think that they did all this work. Again, I said it earlier. I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record, but I'm going to say it. It's really amazing how much work they put into getting all the pieces of the puzzle, throwing it all over on the floor, and just starting to piece these things together so that they can get a better understanding of what this guy was doing, how he did it, where did he go, etc. It is creepy. Yeah, you know, Big Brother is watching, y'all. I'm gonna keep it real. Big Brother is watching. I ain't gonna lie. I don't give a damn. Okay, I don't give 2 damns. Let's keep it real. They watching. They always watching. Okay, so it's amazing that they were able to catch him like that. And what's interesting too is that He thinks he did the perfect crime. He really thought he got away with it. He really thought he had everything figured out. And he didn't. He didn't at all. They caught him. They triangulated. They used cell phone data. They did all this stuff. The dude even turned off his cell phone before he went en route, y'all. Before he went en route. Can you believe that ish? And they were able to detect that. And they go, yep, turned it off right then. Then he did the unthinkable to these four. Jumped back in the car. Drove his ass the long way back home. And then as he gets closer to home, he goes, I'm going to turn the phone back on. Turns the phone back on. You don't think that they're going to catch him doing that ish? You know? Like I said, this is some people sit here and go, this is a dumb smart guy. I'm just calling him a dumbass. Because he really thinks he did something. He really thinks he got away with something. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, y'all. Woo, we got more, though. We definitely got more for y'all. I got more for y'all. Hold up. I got more for y'all. Yes. Hold on. There we go. Let's take a look at this video as well. Oh, my Lord. But again, still asking you guys. So think about it. Why? Why take six plus hours to call 911? Wouldn't that be a knee-jerk reaction? Wouldn't that be the first reaction if you see a random creepy dude donned in all black with a full-on face mask walking through your house? But then again, I've never been inside that house. I don't know how dark it gets in that house, etc. But it is very weird. And I don't know. It doesn't seem like something that it just doesn't seem like something that a frat boy would just be wearing randomly in the house too. So I feel like it would be strange to see somebody walking through the house like that. Period. It's still awkward because you can't sit there and go, oh, this must be a prank. Hell no. This is a creepy dude, 4 o'clock in the morning, walking through your house in all black in a face mask. That's creepy, y'all. Period. But anyway, then the other thing too, I do have to ask. I mean, some people are asking me this on Twitter too, and I do appreciate the questions. Be sure to follow me on Twitter as well. I really would appreciate that too. But one thing that people are asking is, what about that glove? And people were asking about the glove on that was sitting outside of the house. They're constantly going, what's up with that glove though? That glove right there though. But then 5-0 was saying that was from the corners or something like that. Like it's weird. Farron just said, I bet she was drunk or high or something and she thought maybe he just walked through, went to bed and woke up a long time later because booze or Mary Jane. Maybe it could very well be. Like I said earlier, see, I'm not crazy. You see what I'm saying? I ain't crazy. I think she was just high. I think she was just drunk as hell. Saw a dude walk through and she's like, what the hell? Instant reaction is to shut the door, lock it, hide. And then as she hid, she just nodded off. And then at 12 or whatever time she woke up, she wakes up, walks out to this horrific scene with stark light coming through the house. You see what I'm saying? Scary. Okay. Let me grab this one really quick. Maura Kelly, trust me, I'm going to get to your super chats really quick after this next video here, I promise. Maura Kelly, thank you so much for the 20. Hi, off topic. I was wondering if you saw the Just In. They have been on Shanquella, and also I'm on Slow-Mo, even though I'm a member. Also, they have more, but keeping it secret for right now on BK. I think that they got to have more. They've got to have a whole lot more. Now with Shanquella, I have been keeping an eye on Shanquella. I know it is completely off topic, Maura, but a good question. I am keeping an eye on it, but Justin is, from what I've seen from Justin, they have been putting out some information, but some of it's kind of old news now. But yes, I'm keeping an eye on it. Yes, Slow-Mo, you can definitely keep commenting. If you're a member, you can keep commenting as much as you want if you are a member. Slow mode still stays slow mode. You might have to wait 30 seconds before you can make another comment, all right, for everybody else. But if you're a member, you can comment as much as you want. But thank you so much for the 20. I really do appreciate it. Let me get into this video, okay, because we got some more, all right, talking about the DNA found on the button snap of the knife sheath. Let's go.
I do think that, when you stab 4 people, so I have kind of 2 thoughts on that. I think, and not to be graphic, I do think that, when you stab 4 people, that takes a lot of energy and a lot of exertion. And I do think part of it was that he was tired, quite frankly. I personally, based on the evidence that was released in this probable cause affidavit, I'm not certain that he planned on killing all 4 of them or expected all 4 of them to be there. And so I think that he may have been in such a daze and such a state that he just walked right by that roommate and didn't necessarily see her, although she said that she saw him. Now, if she was in a state of shock can take hours, days, weeks sometimes to wear off. And so that very well may have been the case with her. I know a lot of folks are sort of upset with her for not calling the police, but it's really hard to put yourself in a situation like that. And I'm not sure that at the top of her mind, she had thought that, 4 of her roommates had been murdered. My other thought on why he spared the dog, and I know this might seem a little strange, is that he is a very strict vegan. We know this. We know that he had asked his aunts and uncles to prepare food in separate pans. I wonder if he spared the dog simply because of the way that he views animals and that he just doesn't consume them.
So hold on. One thing I have to push back. That was a leather knife sheath. Leather. So how vegan is he? That's the question I have. Sure, he wanted to save the animals and stuff like that, but he had a sheath made of leather. Ain't that a little weird? And also, it does make you wonder, like, what else was he wearing that could have been leather made from other dead animals and stuff like that? So maybe he's I mean, Raven McCall just said imitation leather, Pascal. Maybe it was imitation leather, but they say leather. They've been saying it's a leather sheath. And could it be? Hold on. Where it is. Somebody just said faux. Illuminati just said faux leather. Faux. Maybe it was faux leather. Maybe it was. Justice said pleather. Maybe it was pleather. I haven't heard pleather in a long time. Pleather. You know what I mean? Maybe it was, but it is very interesting, though. The fact that it is still, they're saying a leather knife sheath. Just found that interesting. Okay. And Design Rhythm just said, K-Bar uses real leather. Exactly. And also, it was a United States Marine Corps insignia and all this stuff on it. You think that the United States Marine Corps are going to use something fake? Hell no. They ain't going to do that. They ain't going to do that. They ain't going to give you no pleather. They're going to give you real leather. So then it makes you wonder, how authentic was what he had? It was real leather, guys. Come on. They wouldn't be using that fake. We're talking about the Marines, y'all. We're talking about the Marines. They're not using fake stuff. All right? They ain't using that fake ish. Let's continue.
Because a lot of times, unfortunately, what I have seen in situations like this, animals that make noise are typically one of the first things that are killed in situations like this. So I really do think, especially now that I hear that the dog was barking and causing commotion, I do believe that may have been one of the reasons that the dog was spared.
Absolutely. And we also learned that the dog was barking in that affidavit. Bryan, I want to go back to this knife sheath. Again, so many people had wondered, about a weapon. So we know that they found the sheath. We know that there was corresponding DNA found on that sheath as well. And just talk about where this item was found.
Yeah, so the knife sheath was found on the bed next to one of the victims, right next to one of the victims. This suspect, according to the police, turned off his cell phone when he actually committed the murders. They say trying to evade law enforcement, possibly knowing that they could have pinged the cell phone in the area. But he apparently made a big mistake by leaving that knife sheath behind right there on the bed. On the button on the knife sheath, there's a button where it closes. On that button is where they found DNA. And then when they went to the Kohberger's trash can in Pennsylvania and tested the item from the trash can, it is the DNA from the button on the knife sheath that connected back to Bryan Kohberger in that DNA from the trash can.
Pretty wild, right? Pretty wild. Now let's talk about that really quick. Somebody just asked something. I saw. Where did it go? It just disappeared. Dagnab. There it is. Let me just say this again. Where was it found? It was found on the 3rd floor next to Madison. Just found on the 3rd floor in Madison's room next to Madison. What's very interesting, though, okay, is that he really mucked this up. He overlooked one thing. You don't leave something that's personally yours behind in a crime scene. That is the biggest goof that he did this entire time. Again, he did this unthinkable thing. He walked in around 4 o'clock, 4:25. He was already kicking rocks. He got in his car. He drove back home he took the long way home. He took a drive. So he didn't get back home until about 5:25, 5:30, if my memory is correct. Turns his phone back on. Then he got home, and this is what I think. And I said it on the show earlier, but I'm going to say it again. He got home, probably reeling over what he has done, and adrenaline pumping. He's feeling good. Cracks open a beer, does a couple push-ups, whatever. All right, and then all of a sudden, he's sitting down. He puts the weapon on right in front of him, all jovial and proud of himself, and he's just playing it over in his head. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, something just hits him in his face. Oh, damn. I left the knife sheath. So then, for the next few hours, he's pacing back and forth, going, "Oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Do I go there? Do I get it? Do I not? Do I do it? Do I not? Oh my God, if I go back in, what if I run into somebody? What am I going to have to do? Am I going to have to take their lives too? What am I going to do?" So after a few hours of him thinking that, he finally musters up enough courage to jump back into his car, the white Elantra, 2015 white Hyundai Elantra, drive his lanky ass all the way back to the crime scene. He pulls up and suddenly goes, "No, that's not a good idea. I can't do it now. It's broad daylight out. Everyone can see me. Damn it. It's in there somewhere. Damn it." Pulls off. and takes his lanky ass home. Like I said, this was from what they say he was so smart, this is a really dumb smart guy. He left something that I feel that is his pride and joy, that he held dear to him. Come on. If we're correct in what they say about the weapon that was used, it was the only weapon that was used. You don't think he was thinking about how he was going to use that knife to do unthinkable things to someone soon? He probably praised that damn knife. He probably praised that damn weapon. He probably was fantasizing what he was going to do with that knife for years after studying all these serial killers and all this stuff. And then he finally did the deed. But because of the excitement, because of the craziness that went down, probably the pure shock that he just got away with it, and that adrenaline, he forgets one of the biggest things that you should never leave behind. This is a smart dumbass, everybody. You know for a fact he had that knife for a long time. This is not something he just went to a pawn shop and just bought it the day of. He had that mother lover. I'll say that. I don't care. I could be wrong. Maybe he did go to a pawn shop and buy it that day. But I feel in my bones he was holding on to that near and dear to his heart. Maybe given to him by his father, or maybe it was something within the family. Maybe there was a Marine in his family. That's something that we should ask. Somebody just asked that in the chat, in the family chat, which is a brilliant question. What if this wasn't a family heirloom that was passed down to him? Shoot, that knife could have been his letter opener. Hate to say it like that, but maybe. Just always around. Sitting on his desk, right in front of him. Pride and joy. Let's continue.
All right, now I want to piggyback off that with you, Tracy. So the affidavit also says that DNA that Bryan is talking about that was found, it was found on the second crime scene analysis. Talk to us about that process and what that actually means.
So really, and we had seen this multiple times on different news stations documenting this, was that teams were coming in and out of that house at various times and doing different sweeps at various times. It looks like they found the footprint at one point, and then at another point they found kind of cellular material close to the footprint that might be able to be pulling DNA from. And so those kinds of things take time. In a situation like that, kind of your first order of business is to swab the blood, swab whatever visible DNA you can find. In a situation like that, in that button part of the knife sheath, which I gotta say, I echo what Bryan said. I am shocked that he left that behind, given he's working towards his PhD in criminology, and I think ego is a big part of this. You can't see that with the naked eye, and so something like that would have been done in the second, third, or fourth kind of combing through of the crime. So you don't just go through a crime scene once, because there are so many things and so many overwhelming things that can be missed.
Absolutely. And this is such a big crime scene. All right, Bryan, I thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television.
Okay. So as you can see, yes, of course it took time. Think about it. They get the stuff. They're analyzing things. They're probably dusting that thing off for prints, etc. They're doing everything they can to try to find out who did this unthinkable thing, right? Who did this heartbreaking thing? Then they did something which is crazy. The devil is in the details, y'all. The devil is in the details. They did something with that sheath and found DNA underneath within the button snap. Do you realize how small a button is? Like one of those snaps are? That is just tiny. But they were able to go get whatever they could and pull out information from that, important information that pinned this man to the scene of the crime. Now, still the burning question is, where is this knife? Where is the weapon, y'all? And that's going to be the ongoing question that we will have forever, unless he held on to it. Unless he held on to it, which is a very, very good possibility that he held on to that mother lover. And it's somewhere. It's somewhere safe. Because you got to think, did he leave anything? Could he have left something? Could he have taken, did he take anything? Could he have taken something from the crime scene as a symbol, as a souvenir, for a remembrance of this thing that he's done in the past? You know, we all hear that some of these monsters have a tendency of doing that. So the ongoing question I still have is could that be what it is too? It's mind-blowing, y'all. It's absolutely mind-blowing. But I'm going to get into some of these super chats here. And then I will open up the phone lines because I'm sure you guys have some thoughts, some questions. And it'll be a quick one, a quick phone call segment. And I appreciate everybody for being here. Real talk. You guys have been all amazing, hearing me out. And just I'm just here to tell y'all stories. Okay. So I appreciate you coming in and listening to me, because you can listen to any other show on this planet. Okay. And you decide to watch mine. That really means a lot. Okay. But let's get some of these super chats. Man, there's a lot. Okay. Natawe? Maybe I'm saying that right. Natawe. Thank you so much for the $2 Canadian dollars. I appreciate it. I would imagine the roommate was in extreme shock. Yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, there's got to be a way. I mean, I really do think that she's in shock. I think that is. I don't think there's anything sinister, but it is strange that she would be in shock. You know what I'm saying? Not quickly just closing the door, scared, but calling 911 with the quickness. I feel like that's the first thing I would do. But then again, I'm me. I am not her, right? Stacy D, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for becoming a family member. Welcome to the family. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so very much. My ankle is itchy. Okay. But I'm going into some of these other super chats. And again, if you are interested in supporting the channel, by all means, hit that join button down below. Become a family member. It would really be appreciated. Ameni, thank you so much for the 15 AED. That's a new one. I've never seen that before. Thank you so much for that super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. But again, I will say this. This is the reason why I think 5-0 did not say anything about her investigation or her investigation. If they said anything more, man, they would have gone wildfire. The internet streets would have gone ablaze. I will say that. I can prep too. Thank you so much for the 10 Canadian. Remember the DUI stop video. And didn't a light go on and off at the house? Maybe he was cruising, waiting for a signal, or for the lights to go out. Maybe someone dropped him off and picked him back up. Man, the theories, though, maybe. But remember, the DUI stop with those college students happened around 3:25, I think. It was around the 3 o'clock hour. Everything that went down was at 4 o'clock, allegedly. Now, the footage of the car driving by, that could have been him, like one of the 3 times that he just passed by and drove back around. You know what I mean? So maybe that could be it too. I don't know. Maybe though. Maybe. Local Trees, what's up, man? Thank you so much for the 5. I think this was personal. if it was done with a knife, probably got turned down for one of the ladies at a past house party. I don't know if he was ever okay. One, it could be a disgruntled guy who saw one of the girls as a romantic prospect and his advances were declined. Could very well be that. Or he just walked in and did this just to see if he can get away with it. Or something about these girls triggered him. I don't know. And then I keep wondering, why Xana? Why Ethan? Why those two? Why those two young lovers? I still don't understand why. That's the part that's so confusing to me. We already know about that's the other part. How much of that is true about the pinged cell phone matching to wherever Kaylee and Madison were? It matched his cell phone ping. How much of that is true? And how much of that is BS? I'm still wondering. Let's see. Jode Girl, thank you so much for the 5. Is it possible she ran into him when returning from her DoorDash? Oh, from the front door. Ooh, that's a very good question because she got her food at around 4 a.m. I've totally overlooked that piece. That's a very good point. She got her 4th meal. She got her late night munchies, right? At around 4 a.m. from a DoorDash guy. That guy drove off. So maybe she went upstairs with the food and found him coming down the stairs, maybe. Or at 4:12, when she was messing around with TikTok, she was eating her food, looking at TikToks, heard a noise, went out to see what the F was going on, like someone's here, from what, according to what Dylan says in her in her interrogation. Xana got up, walked out to see what the commotion was, and boom, there he was. Maybe. Wow. That's creepy. John K., thank you so much for the 5. How do you see a shadowy figure with bushy eyebrows? Either it was light or dark in the house. Very good question. Very, very, very good question. But I feel like if you're able to make out somebody's eyes, right, you're never going to forget that, especially in something so disturbing, terrifying, so emotionally damaging, I feel. That's just what I feel. Rebecca Candler, thank you so much for the 5. Maybe she didn't have her phone in the room or her phone was dead, or her charger was in the kitchen, but then not sure about 6 hours not coming out. Yeah, see, that's the weird part. But I do think she got scared and she fell asleep. Maybe she sat there scared, and then as she sat there tense, terrified, hours went by and she fell asleep. Maybe. Maria Ann, thank you so much for the 2. There's a lot more to come. 911 time is an issue. Maria Ann, we'll find out. Because 911, yeah, it is weird. 6 hours. That is just strange. It is strange. Not nuts and bored. Thank you so much for the 5. Maybe roommate got spooked at the moment, but later thought he was a guest of the others and realized the deed in the morning. That could very well be it too. You never know, ladies and germs. You never know. Some crazy stuff. But the dude even came back the very 5 hours later. That's crazy to me too. He literally came back 5 hours later. And I do believe it wasn't him to go finish off the rest of the girls. I really think he came back solely so he can get that sheath. Solely. All right. And no, it wasn't like he was going out there for some coffee because that area had the best coffee. Hell no. Okay, 5 hours of him coming back. What? Clearly he was up to no good, right? Miss Chris, thank you so much for the 5. Trauma does weird things to the mind. That's very true. She could have been in shock, inebriated, or even dissociating from what was happening. Absolutely. She could have had a whole out-of-body experience, completely disconnected from what the hell was going on. You know what I mean? Rosemarie says, slept like a baby. Maybe. That's, sometimes, alcohol can do that. Sometimes that alcohol can do that. Let's see here. Come on. There we go. Jode Girl, thank you so much for the 2. But the car was seen at 4:04 on ring cam. Good question. I'd have to go back to the affidavit and look at that again. But from what they say that bracket of time was between 4 and 4:25. That's still very loose. Everything could have happened in 10 minutes within that 4 to 4:25 time, right? But from what they understand, this all happened around that time. You never know. It may not have happened exactly at 4, right? It could have been 4:03, 4:04, could have been 4:05, 4:06. You never know, right? That Crip guy, thank you so much for the 2. Was anyone else arrested? BK. Yeah, I know. And that's another discussion we're going to have on another show. Could there have been another person? Or was he saying that just to throw people off, baby? Was he saying that to throw people off? I just feel in my bones he was saying that to throw people off. Why did Dylan say she only saw one man? She heard commotion, and all of it was not all at the same time. It was certain moments that she heard these things. So according to Dylan, there was only one man. Even the cops believe. Even the cops, sorry, I was looking at the super chats. Even the cops believe that there was only one person. Even Chief Fry, which I need to give a huge shout out to Chief Fry for holding it down and keeping a level head. Real talk. Even Chief Fry was like, no, there's no doubt in our minds that there was only one guy. For right now, I'm believing it. Black Lake, thank you so much for the 10. God bless you, brother. They only need enough for probable cause in the affidavit. Everything else in detail will come out in the trial if it goes to one. He may plea or decide risk it all. I have a feeling he's going to risk it all, y'all. I don't think he's going to sit there and just let it be. Also, one thing I found very interesting is that he already had a public defender already assigned to him. Does that happen before the actual hearing? Does that actually happen? Sonia Z, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. Real talk, does that happen? That seems a little unorthodox, don't you think? Don't they usually say, yes, I'd like to have somebody represent me. I need a public defender. She was sitting right next to him already. Is that normal? And then she was already on the scene, videotaping everything, reconstructing the scene and everything. Like she was ready. Okay? Shoot, she was Tiffany Haddish. She ready. Full on ready in this biznaye. So weird, y'all. So weird. But I don't think is that normal? See, this is the reason why I can't wait to catch some of these esquires to wax some legalese for that ass so we can understand a little bit more. You see what I'm saying? So hopefully that'll be on tomorrow. Keep an eye out for when I post when we will be going live, okay? WPS ATX50. Damn, that's a lot. Thank you so much for the 5. If he didn't leave the knife case, he would have gotten away with it. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely, baby. This mother lover got caught. He just, like I said, the stupidest thing you could ever do is like leave a glove. or like leave a shoe behind or something like that. It's like your favorite shoe. You know what I'm saying? Your favorite hat. You just don't, that you wear all the time. You know what I'm saying? You just don't do that. Stupid. All right? Stupid. We got some more. It's coming. Hold on, guys. There we go. Chrissy Bug, how you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for the 5. I think because Kaylee was sleeping with Maddie, she put the dog in her room and said single bed. Okay. BK probably didn't want to let him out to mess with him. I think she definitely put the dog in the room for sure. I think that too. But I don't know. It's very strange. Maybe she did put the dog in the room at the time. And maybe who's messing with the dog and, you know what I mean, doing a little like playing with the dog is actually Kaylee. It could have been her too. And then she walked back into the room ready to snuggle up and go to bed with one of her besties, right? And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. That could be it too. Sorry, I just saw this and I thought this was funny. Who's Your Mama's just said, United States Marine Corps using vegan leather. Yeah, that ain't happening. My dad's a veteran. Yeah, not going to exactly. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I don't care how many times you look at it. No matter how many times you break it down, no matter how many ways you could try to think about, oh, well, they care about the. No, it is the Marine Corps. It is not about that life. Okay. They don't rock like that. Okay. Gonna get you some. All right. Hell no. Nah. That is leather. All right. Nuts and Board, thank you so much for the 2. Criminals tend to go back to the scene of the crime. True. But he definitely went back to get that sheath, I think. He definitely knew he screwed up. And maybe he said, oh, there's no way I was using gloves. I'm good. I was using my gloves the entire time. I'm fine. I was using my gloves. Phone lines are not open, by the way, guys. Phones are not open. So do not call. Phone lines are not open. I repeat, not open. We still got a few super chats to go through. All right. Stay patient, young grasshopper. Ninja Kitty, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. Thank you. Rosemarie, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. Karen Phillips, welcome to the family. 2 in a row. Bang. Thank you so much for becoming a family member. Welcome to the family. I really appreciate it. We're almost near the end, I promise. To the end of the road. We're almost there. Christy the Groomer, thank you so much. Oh, Crystal the Groomer, thank you so much for the 5. I can't help but think about the Moscow body cam on the night of, I don't know the night of, but at this 2:58 a.m., I guess, a white car drives by and watches the timeline of him driving into the area. Yes, I'm gonna have to go back and get that body cam because I since deleted that. I mean, I've been focused on this new stuff and all the new information, but I will look it up and take a look at that as well. But yes, they're saying that during that time, that was when a car drove by that matched what they think was Bryan Kohberger driving this mother-loving ride. Crazy. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for the 5. He had to get rid of the knife, bury it in another state, perhaps. Absolutely. I think he did it on this cross-country trip. Clearly. Vaticia, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. I appreciate it. CJ, thank you so much for the 5. This is a repeat of an earlier comment. Monsters returned to the scene. I believe he returned and was shocked that Ellie wasn't even there. Maybe, but then if he realized, and this is a good point, CJ, and other people have said it too, and you've probably said it in the chat earlier too, but one thing I find interesting is if he realized that law enforcement wasn't even there yet, why didn't he walk in there and just grab his ish? I think he was scared. I think he was like, I don't want to push my luck. Now it's broad daylight. It's 9 o'clock in the morning when he went back. It's broad daylight. The sun is out. Sun is out. Probably people are on their morning runs, etc. I mean, it's like in your face. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to avoid seeing it ain't a shadowy figure no more. I will say that. Ray Bird, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We've got a few more, I promise. It's almost over. Vetitia, again, thank you so much for the 5. They said he had been in the area 12 times since June, according to the AT&T phone records. Exactly. He was around. He made sure he was in the area. He did some research. He did some recon work. Okay. He was casing the joint. So interesting and that's why I keep wondering, why them? Why all of them? Leela, hey, thank you so much for the 10. She froze. Nobody can say for sure how they will react in unexpected situations. Believe me, I know. You're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, that is very shocking, surprising stuff, okay? Mrs. Renee, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much, everybody. And those are all the super chats so far. I really do appreciate all you guys for contributing, putting in your information, putting in your opinion on all this. It really does mean a lot. I am going to be opening up the phone lines here in just a second. Let me make sure I get the phone number out real quick. All right. Then I will open up the phone lines. All right. Again, let me just say this before we get things popping. Here's a few simple rules. All right. Stay classy. Be respectful and keep it short. I'm only going to do this call in for a short little while. So please don't stay long-winded. Keep it short, keep it simple. And let's have some really great conversations. So the phone lines are officially open. Love to hear your thoughts. Give me a call, 314-766-4581. It's time for our Speak On It segment. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name or where are you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. This is Tracy from Washington State.
Hi, Tracy from Washington. How you doing, sweetheart? What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Oh my gosh, the affidavit is on my mind. To be honest, it's really disturbing.
Yeah.
And personally, the thing that most stuck out of my head is what he allegedly seems like he told Dana. Basically, like that he's going to help her.
Right.
And my belief is that at that point, he already had killed Ethan, and she was probably crying and, like distraught, and he was being disturbing. He's basically telling her, hey, I'm going to take care of you next,
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. It's just like I've been thinking about it a lot. And then when it comes to the girl, like Dylan, I don't want to, we don't want to, make her look as, she's a young girl, like 19, 20.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different factors that could have played into it. Keep in mind also tons of people living in that house. I don't know if you've heard, I'm sure you have, the Kitty Genevieve effect, I think they call it. So it's very possible she was so used to having a bunch of people in that house that she possibly felt like, hey, if something's going on, there's like 5 other people in this house that are going to do something about it. So It's very possible that it was that feeling, and maybe when she heard Zeta crying, maybe she thought her and Ethan were fighting. She didn't want to get involved. And I believe, I've seen some layouts of the house on other channels, and I believe her room was completely opposite of Zana's room. So it's very possible if the lights were dim that she opened her door in complete darkness and she was able to see him, but maybe her corridor was fully dark and he wasn't able to see her. So she was able to see a good view of him. So we're going to find out exactly why she didn't call. Eventually, she's going to be able to testify if it goes to trial, which I think is going to happen. And then she'll be able to explain herself. But, like I imagine she's going through a lot, like thinking in her head, what if I would have reacted faster, would I maybe have been able to save some of my friends?
Yeah.
And I know I read somewhere else that Jack before is kind of going through the whole feelings of guilt as well, because I guess he opted not to go when Kaylee was hitting him up, according to other sources, because he was with friends and they're like, hey, don't like just go whenever she calls you, like stand your ground. And that's why he didn't go. And he feels guilty because he felt like if he would have shown up, maybe he would have been able to help. But in the same note, you also think this guy went all out with 4 people. I don't think if Jack DeCore would have been there or Jack Showalter would have gone back home with them, I honestly think they would have been victims too. Right. I think Dylan just got lucky. I think Bethany just got lucky. I think he was on a mission. And when it comes to the dog, what Dylan said she heard what sounded like Kaylee playing, she was probably just hearing noise and the dog barking, so she assumed her friend was playing with her dog and probably didn't even have a clue that her friends were getting attacked on the 3rd floor. The dog was reacting to all the noise.
Yeah.
So, obviously we'll find out, but it was very disturbing to read it, and we're going to find out more information. And just knowing that he was conversing with some of these victims right before he killed them, especially like knowing that Zaina possibly, like obviously she witnessed most likely what happened to Ethan and then distraught, and then he was talking to her and then did what he did. It's just awful, So
yeah, it's.
I mean, what are you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
No, I was going to say, obviously more information is coming out. What are you kind of, not necessarily saying we're looking forward to it, but what are you kind of leaning towards being more interesting factors in this particular case as it comes out? What are some things you're going to be focusing on?
What are things that I'll be focusing on? Honestly, I want to know more of what evidence, what other things that they have, because right now we've only heard cell phone. We've heard the pinging of the cell phone, the knife sheath, and the bloody footprint. That's all I'm getting so far out of the whole thing. I want to know more details, like what else is there? What else was done in these rooms? And actually, I hate to say this, but I want to know more of the gory details of where these individuals were found, more specifically, because I am still confused, or I am still curious about where these individuals were found, especially Ethan and Xana. That part I'm still kind of confused on, just on how it's been read and all that. So those things I'm still very curious about.
Well, if you saw the layout of the house on other channels, I'll try to wrap this up because I know you got other callers. I don't want to take too much time.
No worries.
But if you see, there's a couple of other channels. Johnny Law, I think, is one where he did a full layout of the house. Xana's room, her door, you can literally see it right in front of the corridor. So right. I believe what the police officer was saying, maybe her door was partially open, ajar, and he was able to kind of just glance into the room and see Xana. And then on the floor, once they got closer, then they probably were able to see Ethan on the floor. It almost seems like that's possibly what happened, that the door was partially open. And that's how he was able to see her body as he was approaching from the bathroom section. So I think,
interesting.
Yeah, it's horrible to say, but obviously we want to know the order. Did he kill Kaylee and Madison first, or Ethan and Xana first?
Yeah,
it almost seems like the noise of the dogs. Maybe he was up there already,
right?
And the dog reacted to its owner getting attacked. Animals can sense these things. And that's a crazy thing. I have a Cocker Spaniel. He's small, but I'll tell you what, when I'm walking outside and someone approaches me, my dog goes psychotic. He's like, don't get near her. And it's literally I think that dog sensed it. And unfortunately, Dylan just took it as, hey, my friend's playing with her dog. And then we'll definitely find out. Maybe she thought it was the friend that was hanging out with them too, and that's why she didn't call. But we'll find out soon enough, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. But anyways,
yeah.
go ahead. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
no, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. No, and I think that's the other thing. We will find out what's going on here more as time goes on. Obviously, there's so many pieces of information that are still pending, and all that. But yeah, there's things that are still lingering that I guess we're going to find out more as the time comes. The more as the time comes. But it is very frustrating because this affidavit is not everything. There's obviously more. I still want to know if he was stalking them, if he was following them everywhere. Those are the questions that I still have. Those are still the burning questions I have right now.
So scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just the last thing, if I can just say one quick thing.
Sure.
This is kind of teaching. This is, I think a lot of us sometimes we pause and we question ourselves when we hear or when we see something. If you live in an apartment complex, you hear neighbors fighting, and then you're kind of like, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to call. This is going to make a lot of people kind of reconsider their stance on things like that. If you are feeling something is up, follow your senses. What's the worst thing? You'll call the police and it's nothing, but possibly you could save a life. Just it's good to react and just go with your senses. No one's going to think you're crazy. You possibly could save a life.
True.
So,
still wild to me that a 911 call was not made at all until much, much later. But I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much for calling. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
You too. Bye-bye. Oh. Okay, you're on the... Hello? Hello? You're on the mic. You're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. Hold on. I got to turn my volume down so it's not echoey. Hi.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, it's Mrs. Steelers. Hi, everybody.
It's what again?
Mrs. Steelers.
Oh, Mrs. Steelers. Hey, how you doing, sweetheart?
Good.
What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Okay, so we only popped in like 30 minutes ago. So if somebody already said this, I'm sorry. But I had a thought that I wanted to share because everybody is really questioning Dylan. And I just had a weird thought about like why it took so long to like call 911, right?
Right.
So we all kind of know the layout of her room. If she saw him and she saw him kind of going into the kitchen, she would not have necessarily seen him go out the door. So she could have, the poor thing, went in her room and locked herself in. Her phone and laptop could have been charging in the living room. It could have been charging in the kitchen. And she sat there terrified for hours until she possibly heard the other roommate get up, and she yelled to the other roommate. And that's when they called a friend and they all called together. Yeah.
That could be it too. I mean, obviously the possibilities are endless, right? I mean,
yeah.
I lean or I err on the side of she probably had her phone. Because I mean, what person in this day and age, what college student in this day and age doesn't have their phone attached to their hip? Let's keep it real.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So why would she have the phone somewhere completely away from her? Like that is another appendage, for crying out loud, for all of us. I mean, it's all of us. So, if they're not Snapchatting, TikToking, YouTubing, Facebooking, Googling, then they're not breathing. You see what I'm saying? So I'm wondering.
Essentially, I know that's the only plausible thing is she maybe was like, I don't know, just, something in her room and she has like her vanity, like, I don't know if she was into makeup, I don't know. But it was charging somewhere else, or maybe she had it a faster charger somewhere else, or again, she thought they were all sleeping. That's the only logical thing that would make sense.
Right.
But then that leads into the 911 call. So I think, and I don't know if anybody else has said this, I think I know why they did not release it, or I have a theory about that. I think that during the 911 call, she probably said she saw somebody, and you would never want a suspect to know there would be an eyewitness because they would freak out. So that's probably, again, just trying to deduce logic.
Right.
That would be my theory. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense. Actually, what you're saying actually makes a lot of sense, that maybe, because of course, at the very beginning, they were sitting there going, it's a crime of passion. No, it's not. We don't want to say that. It was targeted. No, it wasn't targeted. You know what I mean? Oh, nothing to worry about. Moscowians, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's going to be fine. It was so much in the very beginning of just crazy mixtures of information out here. So yeah, I mean, they could have been holding that information so that people don't freak the F out, for sure.
And
Absolutely.
to protect her too, to keep her safe as well, because maybe he didn't even know. Yeah. That she
survived,
that she saw him. So
and also,
or that she saw him.
Or that she saw him too. Yeah. I also think that they were trying to protect her from the public too, because everybody would be instantly thinking that she or both of them had something to do with this, so on and so forth. I mean, man, it's a feeding frenzy out here with people's theories and whatnot, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But
for sure,
Mrs. Steelers, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the daily hard work. You keep showing up and giving information, and thank you for still keep talking about Shanquella.
Thank you.
Thank you. It means the world. The world to me and a lot of other people. Yeah. All right. Take it easy. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. This is Anna from Tijuana, Mexico. How are you?
Anna, hey, how you doing? So, yes.
I'm doing good.
What's on your mind today? Speak on it.
Well, I was waiting for you to have your show. I thought it was going to be a little bit earlier with all the news. And I remember our phone call the other day when we were talking about that the police didn't give any details, and now we have a bunch of information.
Right.
And I'm amazed of starting with what you're mentioning right now, the girl, what happened actually that she couldn't make the phone call. We don't know the specific details. We just know that she didn't call until hours later.
Right.
So that's kind of weird, but I get it. When I was 8, I went through kind of kidnapping, so I understand the trauma, but I couldn't imagine as an adult having something like that. I don't know how everybody would react. But you have a point about the phone and everybody using the phone all the time. And what happened to the phone? We don't know, right? So we don't know the details.
Yeah, we don't really know all about that, which is true. Her phone could have been, her phone could have lost juice. It could have been dead. I mean, the possibilities of all this are completely, it's kind of up in the air right now. But yeah, I mean, somebody said it earlier. I think it was Leela that said, never underestimate how people react in an unexpected, tragic situation, like somebody, a shadowy figure walking by you with, I don't blame them for I understand the pure shock of it all, right? That's terrifying, right? But I don't know. It's interesting. The information's very interesting here for sure.
And thinking ahead, if they go to trial, what's going to happen is if she recognized him, because she said that it was a man, and she gave a similar description of who he is, and he was he had what she said, a lot of eyebrow, or what she said, something like that. but she
Bushy
kind of
eyebrows, yeah.
described him. So yeah. So if they go to trial, maybe she will testify, and maybe we'll know more details. I was thinking about that. Maybe the survivors will talk.
I hope that they do. I have my fingers crossed on that. I'm hoping that we find out
Yes.
more truth and more information here from the
Yes.
testimonies. That it, of course, if this sees trial, because you never know. But we'll see. We'll see here soon enough, for real.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that even if it looked like the police was kind of slow, the reality was that they were doing their job, and I'm glad that they got the person. So I just wanted to say that and participate today.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the phone call. All right.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful night.
You too, sweetheart. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
I made it! Pascal, this is Fair and Balanced. How are you?
Oh, hey, what's up? Fair and Balanced in the house.
How you doing?
Man, I'm chilling, girl. What's good? What is up?
All right. So for those that do not know me, I've worked in the news business for like 15 years. I've covered court cases. I've covered homicides. My very first job actually was in Rockford, Illinois, back in 2011. After I moved there, I found out it was the 9th most dangerous city. So I was literally covering gunshot case to homicide to murder case, whatever. So a couple things that I want to say about this case. First things first, I understand the roommate aspect. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, what if she was this? What if she was that? What? Oh my gosh. Even myself, I fall into it where I'm like, she probably was this and she probably was that. Y'all, we have to wait to her testimony.
Yeah.
There are reasons why the law enforcement and the prosecutors are not revealing certain things. For example, if you remember back in the day, okay, and this is one of the biggest mistakes that Dianne Feinstein made when she was the mayor of San Francisco. She's now a California senator. When you had the Night Stalker going through California and, the serial killer, if you remember, he was going up and down California, there was one bit of evidence that the police had that they would not tell the public that they had because they knew that was the one thing that would literally identify the killer, and it was the sneaker imprint. What does Dianne Feinstein do as mayor? She holds a press conference and says, we have a sneaker imprint, so we know who you are. And the cops were like, are you kidding me?
That's insane.
The cops always hold one piece of evidence, which is why they're very anti-media. They liked me as a person, but they're like, I can't like you as a media person.
Right.
But so this Hyundai Elantra, though, what a lot of people don't realize as well. And again, there's probably something that the roommate has on this guy, besides the fact that she saw him, that they're not going to reveal because they don't want the defense to know, A, and B, they don't want them to help build an argument as to what her defense is.
Good point.
B, yeah. So trust me, when you've covered enough of these cases, you're like, oh God, I get it. And when you have a lot of friends that are lawyers, you learn it as well.
Right.
And then the second thing is that a lot of times a lot of people are like, why would they show the Hyundai Elantra? Why would they show that to everybody? Why was this the one big thing? Remember, everybody was like, why this car? It was so that state police were tipped off as to, you see a Hyundai Elantra in any state that you're in. The FBI had been following him since the day that he left. And folks, the one thing that a lot of people are like, why didn't you get him sooner? Why didn't you go faster? Unfortunately, the way the legal system is you have to bring probable cause. And for these folks to bring probable cause, you have to, one, find the probable cause. Two, you have to bring it in front of a judge. And the judge has to say, okay, I'll allow a search warrant, or nope, that's not enough evidence. And then three, you have to bring it in front of a grand jury. and a grand jury has to say, you know what, this guy looks like a killer, first-degree murder on all 4 counts.
Right.
So these guys literally, the reason why it's been taking so long is because they have literally had to build a case up against this guy. They probably knew the day after it was him, but you got to bring the evidence. And that's why at least now these poor souls have their justice, even though we haven't gone through the court case yet. But again, with this roommate, I guarantee you there's probably a lot more to her testimony as to why she did what she did,
Right.
what she knew. It's just that prosecutors aren't going to say anything because they can't let the defense know yet.
Okay. So fair and balanced. Thank you, Farron. Guys, she has a fantastic show on YouTube called Fair and Balanced. FARAN. You guys need to go and check her out. She's got some really great stuff, and she's got some really great people that come on to her panel to talk about things that are going on in the world as well over there as well. So please go and check her out and subscribe over there where you can. But let me ask you this then.
I was going to say I'm all things DC. So if you guys like politics, I've been covering the House speakership, and I go through what's going on in Congress and how the votes go and all that. So that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question though.
So I got a question for you though. All right. Because of course we got to ask it. Or I want to hear your opinion on this, okay? Since we got you on the show. There is no murder weapon. There's no murder weapon. Where is the murder weapon? And then if we don't have a murder weapon, can we have these charges stick entirely? Or does this give more room for reasonable doubt for the jury? What are your thoughts?
So remember in the O.J. Simpson trial?
Oh, let's talk about O.J.
There was no murder weapon there either.
Yes.
Now, granted, you had the whole, if the glove don't quit, you must don't fit, or you must have quit, whatever.
Yep.
But then again, O.J. lost the civil case. Why? DNA evidence. Okay. So DNA evidence holds up a lot in pinpointing somebody at the scene of the crime. And also, who's to say they don't have the murder weapon? That's an allegedly. We don't know if they have it or not. They haven't told us that. And that might be the one piece of evidence that the prosecution has where it's, yeah, we found it and it was in his bedroom, or so, you never know where it was, you know?
Well, it's interesting because you'd think that they would say, I mean, do you really think that they would hold that information away? Like, because listen, why wouldn't they have? I feel like that is the smoking gun. That's the big thing, so that they can say we found the weapon in his home or in the car, so on and so forth. That is huge. That is a huge thing for everyone to see and applaud the law enforcement for their amazing investigative work. Right? They kicked some ass and took some names. They got the murder weapon. Congratulations. Why would they hold that on the quiet for the trial? That makes no sense. Let the guy find out that you have the smoking gun, okay? And so that he can say, I'm guilty, me guilty. Slap him with whatever he's going to be charged with. Slap him with the whatever he's going to looks like he's going to be looking at the death penalty. Let's keep it real. But slap him with whatever he gets punished with, right? And send him on his way. Throw him in the cell and throw away the key. That's it. So why hold that back? I feel like if they did have that, this would be plastered all over the place. They'd be holding it. They'd be doing photos with it, showing we have the murder weapon. It's standing right next to him with the murder weapon and everything. I feel like there would be a huge display. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't think they have it at all.
100%. Well, so I'm gonna put you in this scenario as well, though. Because a lot of times, there was actually a murder case that I covered where they found the murder weapon, but the prosecution never brought it forward. Why? The murderer was wearing gloves, and he washed the knife off after he was done. Literally a case, just like, not exactly like this, but the murderer was wearing gloves when he stabbed the person, and he washed the knife off after. They never brought it forward. But here's the crazy part, though. It was the murder weapon, but they showed it to a jury and said, this is what the murder weapon was like. This is how big the knife was. This is this. This is that. The problem was is that the second that you bring out a murder weapon and you don't have DNA on it, that causes reasonable doubt to a jury. Whereas if you say, I mean, here's the thing: as a prosecution, as an attorney, you want it where every piece of evidence is 100%. We have the DNA under the button. We have the DNA on the fridge. We have the DNA on the dog, or wherever the hell all of the evidence that they have. Why would you bring out a murder weapon and be like, well, we found the murder weapon, but we couldn't find his DNA on here? That's reasonable doubt. So I guarantee you they probably have it, but they're not going to bring it into evidence in saying, oh yeah, like this was found, or we did find this. And folks, let me tell you, it's happened more often than not that they won't bring certain evidence forward, both prosecution and defense, in order to prove reasonable doubt. But that's our legal system. But again, that one case that I covered where they didn't bring it forward because that proved to be reasonable doubt, you were like, what? The murder weapon? Of course he did it. But it's like, nope, no DNA, no fist marks, nothing. That's reasonable doubt.
Interesting. No, because that's interesting, because if you really think about it, wouldn't they just, I don't know. I mean, if they have the weapon, I don't know. I just feel like if they have the weapon, I feel like that would be one of the first things that they would put out. Just blow. We got the weapon, or like, we have him, we got the weapon. And, and then let the nature run its course, right? Let him fight it, or let him go, oh, damn. Yeah, I'm guilty.
But again,
you know what I mean?
if there's no DNA on it, they're not going to come out and say, yeah, we have the weapon. If they have the weapon and they have DNA, they're going to be like, yep, we got the weapon. It's got his DNA on it. Here you go. Damn. Whereas, Your Honor, we're not going to bring this into discovery because we don't know. This was near the murder scene, but we don't know if it's the actual murder weapon. We're not sure that the knife is clean. There's no fingerprints. We don't know, Your Honor. So that could be another case too. And I'm sure when you talk to Danny, she'll go through it more, who's just an amazing prosecutor. But this is just from my angle of covering a court case, watching the jury, looking how lawyers are trying to convince a jury. And you're never going to bring forward to a jury a 50-50. Well, could it be? Could it not be? They're only going to bring, I know this, the evidence. They don't want to show, because folks, let's be honest, our justice system is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But if there's any doubt, and the judge always says this to the jury before they go back and deliberate, if there is any reasonable doubt, then it's a no.
Yeah.
And so that's where the prosecutions are going to really have to fight this. And, you were saying, if this guy's going to plead, if he's going to plead, I don't think he is. His family has said that they are going to prove his innocence. I do find that interesting that his family says they're going to prove his innocence, mainly because well, and here's the thing. His family, the way his father seemed in the vehicle, seemed a little bit, not like, oh yeah, like it seemed not that he was conspiring, but just his family seemed off. And women out there, y'all know what we call it, women's intuition. Something seems off with him and his dad. Something's off.
So wait. Okay, now this is getting juicy. All right, so you think, do you think that we're looking in that situation? Do you think that we were looking at a possible Brian Laundrie situation where the dad was trying to help him out type of situation, or do you think he was just being a father, just trying to have some time with his son driving cross country?
You know what? The problem is, though, is that it's when you don't know these people, you don't know. His dad might be a happy-go-lucky guy and be positive wherever the hell he goes. And it's, oh, that's just good old dad. Or there's time where it's like, hey, dad, I messed up. And, I might have accidentally killed somebody. And he gives him some, whatever Popeye story. The dad's like, don't worry, son, we'll get through this. And he's just throwing up an act. You have no idea what looks like a psychopath told his father. You don't know. But that's I will say, I did get a very, very weird vibe from his dad and the way that he was really weird on the body cam. And then even him as well.
Oh, he was weird.
Yeah.
Bryan was absolutely, you could tell he was freaking out. In a way, it was like, oh, what's going on? And then the dad started talking and, just being super neighborly. And he seemed to calm down after that. But yeah, the dad seemed cool, seemed calm. Like he hadn't,
But let me tell you,
nothing to
folks,
be worried
so
about.
when a jury sees that body cam, I guarantee you, when the trial's over, whatever the verdict is, I guarantee you the jury members, when they finally go out and they interview with people like, your Diane Sawyers or whoever the hell it is they're going to interview with, they're going to say it was either the body cam that either did it for me or didn't do it for me, because there's already the DNA evidence. A lot of times people, they really do look at human behavior. I'll give you a perfect example. Look at Amber Heard. Everybody believed her until you saw her on the stand and you were like, oh, this girl's crazy.
Yeah.
She's straight up crazy.
Yeah.
People can sense human behavior. And again, I call it like I see it. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat too. That body cam was really awkward. Really awkward.
Absolutely.
And that might sit with the jury either a little bit, a lot of bit, but it's gonna have an effect on the jury either way.
No, you know what? You are not wrong with that. It is. Hold on. Whoops. No, my camera just lost its doggone mind. There it is. There she's back. No, you're absolutely and you may be 110% right. This may be that could be one huge ass act. And then when we get to trial, it might be something completely different, or we find out more about the background story of Bryan's upbringing. Because this sinister thinking had to come from something, had to spawn from somewhere. Yes, people are born bad. There are people out here that are just bad seeds out here for sure, but something starts triggering them early on in life. So it makes you wonder, what was the household like? What is the household like? What is the dynamic between the parents and the children? It could also just be a regular Norman Rockwell painting, for crying out loud. A depiction of a family could just be very, very normal, right? But we don't know. There's a lot of speculation around that car ride, for sure. For me, I feel like the father was just completely finessed. I think he was finessed. That's just what I think, to be really honest. But
yeah, we might never know. I mean, and here's the other thing too, is that every kind of parent is different. For example, you look at, I'm my hometown's Chicago. Okay. John Wayne Gacy, the big serial killer out of Chicago. His father hated his guts, and his father disowned him when he was in prison, because he was actually in prison before he actually committed his murders. But his father was disgusted. His father said, I'm not helping you. I don't know who you are. Then you also have parents like Brian Laundrie's, where it's, don't worry, son, it's going to be okay. We'll get through this. We'll help you hide the body, or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. You never know what kind of parent you're going to get.
No doubt.
I know my mother would be like, you dad, I'm turning your ass in.
Right.
But
yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you just never know. But like I said, I just had a really weird vibe from especially him, but definitely his father. But again, I don't know him personally, so you don't know how he is on a day-to-day basis. But when you get a weird vibe, it's hard to describe, Pascal, because it's like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or whatever, but you're just like, I just got a really weird vibe from you, dude. They're just really weird.
Yeah, it's definitely screaming some weird. I mean, to me, just looking at the photos and all that, the body cam footage that we've seen so far, there's definitely something off, for sure. Something's not right, and especially with all the information that we have now. The other thing too, just to say this really, really quick, and of course I got to let you go, but.
Of course, yeah.
But one thing is what if this is? We got to play the other side of the fence. What if he just happens to fit the MO, and he has all these things pit up against him, and he didn't do it? I'm just saying, what are the chances? What are the chances of that? You see what I'm saying?
You know what?
So-
If they have DNA evidence, if they have DNA evidence, a lot of it is going to be hook, line, and sinker for a jury, especially if it's him at the house. The defense might argue and say it was a part. Actually, no, I guarantee you the defense is going to argue it was a party house. There's DNA from everybody there. I guarantee you they have more evidence than they're actually leading out right now to pinpoint him to that location. Because, again, you're not going to get an indictment by just DNA under a button.
Mhm.
Okay. The second thing is, and whether it's cell phone pinging, whether it's more DNA, something from the dog, who knows what it is. But it's going to be something that's going to be a hook, line, and sinker thing. But if he is found not guilty, it's because, again, obviously it's because, the prosecution isn't, great as far as, securing that evidence to be, beyond reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a lot of evidence there, even just from the get-go with the DNA evidence. They're proving that the Reddit posts were from him, where it's, how did you get away with it? I mean, and also too, I would not be surprised that he's under a psych eval right now, or psychotic evaluation right now.
I'm sure they're doing that for sure. I mean, at least prosecution's probably doing that big time. Obviously, the defense is probably doing that. His defense team, of course, I'm sure, are doing that as well now. They're going to be doing a lot over the next couple weeks. I mean, he's back in court next week, but yeah,
right.
When they go into full
but when
trial,
you talk to
it'd be
Danny,
interesting. Sorry,
I was gonna say when you talk to Danny, she'd be the one to tell you how he winds up walking from this case. Danny would be the one to kind of tell you more, because Danny has been a prosecutor for a long time. She's covered these kinds of cases.
Right on.
She'd be the one to tell you what exactly it is that, possibly got him off,
Yeah.
For me, I look at it from a jury perspective. And, a lot of times when you have these cut and dry cases, like your Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, where you're like, okay, yeah, she's a little crazy. Or, John Wayne Gacy, or, your Jeffrey Dahmers, where it's, yep, we found a head in your refrigerator. I think you're the killer.
Right.
Those are cut and dry. Whereas this one, again, for a grand jury to indict him, they've got some evidence. We might not hear all of it yet, though. But again, Danny will give you way more as a prosecutor.
Right.
I'm just giving you from a media and a jury perspective.
Yes.
So,
well,
but yeah.
Farron, thank you so much for calling in. I really do appreciate it.
Of course,
there's a lot we could talk about for sure. Would love to have you back on camera, do a video call or video chat on the show for sure very, very soon. So thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it, sweetheart.
Of course. I start at 12 noon tomorrow Eastern time, covering the Speaker of the House vote. So whoever loves politics in Congress, come on over and watch me.
Go and do that, because things are going crazy over there. All right? All right.
All right. Have a good one. Great
too,
to talk
sweetheart.
to you. Take care.
You too. Bye. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Charlotte. I'm calling from Florida.
Hey, Charlotte, how you doing? What's on your mind? Speak on it.
So I just wanted to kind of weigh in very quickly.
Sure.
About the roommate.
Sure.
I think that sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay. Take your time.
The previous caller. But I think that there's definitely a lot that was probably left out of the affidavit, as far as like what she all saw and like what she did for the next, the however long it took her to call the police and whatnot. And I feel like when we're looking at this with the context of knowing what had happened and how horrible it was, and also having the objectivity of not being in that situation, it's easy to say, why didn't she call the police, or why did she wait so long, and things like that.
Right.
But when we're not in that situation, we don't know what we're going to do or what our response is going to be, or what we're going to be thinking. And so I think that there's bound to be a lot of speculation about why she made whatever choices she did. But I feel like too that the speculation is leading way too easily into a lot of people, and I've seen this like on Reddit and TikTok and whatnot today, assuming that her actions imply that she was involved somehow, like that she was an accomplice, or like that she was, she planned it out with him and that's why he let her go and things like that. And I just wanted to kind of speak to how dangerous I think that is, as far as like, kind of accusing people and having this wild speculation like running rampant on the internet. And it makes me wonder if they'll actually come out and say like, I know that there's a gag order, but like, seeing the widespread like critical response to this girl, after all that she's been through and whatnot, if they'll actually come out and say like, this person has been cleared, like, back off the roommate and things like that, because it's just I just kind of found it very worrisome how much I've seen it on the internet today, of how critical people are being, to the point of accusing her of being like an accomplice.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I don't think that she's an accomplice. Personally, I don't think that at all. The question that I just pose is, it's just wild that it takes several hours for her to, or for someone to end up calling 911. And I think that that's one of the main questions everybody's asking. And of course, I feel like it just kind of goes hand in hand, unfortunately, and especially within the world of speculation that we live in right now, people are quick to automatically sit there and think, oh, she was doing the unthinkable. She was planning everything out. I don't side. I'm not standing on that side of that kind of dialogue personally. I feel that it's a little reckless. I do also think that if she was involved in any sort of way, then she would be detained. She would not have been ruled out like all the other people who were ruled out. Like, remember, we were all sitting there going, why wasn't Jack D? What's up with Jack S? What's up with all these other people? Why are they just let go so quickly? And it's because 5-0 knew they had stuff. They knew stuff. They were getting pieces together. So the fact that they let those two go, which, let's be real, they would be the first to be looked at because they were the ones living in the house and they both survived. Of course, they would be looking at them with a fine-tooth comb. The fact that they went through that fine-tooth comb, and the only weird thing that was involved, according to Dylan, was the fact that she didn't call for six plus hours. Yeah, I mean, it is weird. It is weird, but they ruled out everything. She was ruled out. So I believe 5-0 did what they had to do and found the bad guy. Now, when it comes to other people involved in this thing, I don't know, but I don't think it's her. I really don't. I don't.
Yeah, I agree, and definitely I want to commend you because you have been very clear that like you're not accusing this girl or anything like that. No. But I think that it kind of goes hand in hand with sort of the affidavit, just sort of putting out more questions. And I mean, it did answer a lot of questions, but then it's kind of like, well, previously they said that the incident happened, between like 3 and 3:30, now we're saying 4 and 4:30, and like all these new details. But then it sort of paints a picture of, because it is weird, to be 100% fair. It is weird that so much time passed after she saw the person that she called. But again, she could be in shock or something like that. But it also seems like for such a violent thing that happened, the affidavit doesn't really paint a picture of like a lot of struggle or like, any like screaming or things like that. And so the whole thing like put together is kind of weird. And I think that her actions in the context of all the other kind of weirdness that came out of the affidavit, I guess implies that there must be more that they just didn't put in there. Because otherwise it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I feel like that should have been a 40-page affidavit, to be completely honest, because I do think that there's a lot missing. There's a lot of holes in there. like it gave us the broad
Yeah,
strokes.
yeah.
It gave us the broad strokes, but I think there's a lot more to it that they're not letting us know. But I think more will come out. I think more will slowly start to come out as time goes on, because obviously people are gonna be obsessing and focusing on this trial for a good while too. I mean, we are in this for a few weeks, guys.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
for the long haul.
definitely more information going to come out, and eventually there will be interviews from maybe some of the victims and some of the surviving victims, so on and so forth. I mean, it's like I said, there's going to be a lot coming up here very soon. So we'll see what happens, but I do appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for calling in,
Thanks
sweetheart.
so much. And just wanted to say I love your show. Again, you do such an amazing job and keep things balanced and fair and whatnot. So thanks so much for your coverage, and have a great night.
You too, sweetheart. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right. That ends our Speak On It segment, guys. I appreciate all y'all for calling in and being a part of the conversation. I got a couple super chats that I want to get real quick. Vicky Kimsey, thank you so much for the 10. I don't know your phone. Next time I'll make sure I pin it to the top of the chat so you guys know where to go. Why do you think he was hiding his palms on his knees when he was pulled over? I guess wounds would be there, not top of hands. Yeah, when he got pulled over and that body cam footage came out, in that body cam footage, you could tell he was kind of hiding, felt like he was hiding his left hand. He was kind of sticking it in between his legs and kind of, you know what I mean? Seemed like he was hiding his left hand a lot, but I don't know what it was. We'll see what happens here with more information that comes out, because I'm sure they took photos of his hands, face, body, everything, when they arrested this man. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for the 5. Yes, there's evidence in a court. You must, I guess, have evidence to convict. If you buried it and Moscow PD don't have it, it's very hard to get a conviction. If they do have it, I want to see the weapon. And if and what Farron Balanced said earlier, it could very well be that. I mean, they could be holding it and waiting to present it in the trial. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here for sure. And I think that's it. I think that was all of them. Vicky Kimsey, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so very much. Mrs. and Mr. Steelers, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. Thank you so much. Mrs. and Mr. Steelers, thank you so much for the 2. No M weapon, no motive. Yeah, I wonder. And again, if he's going to be stone faced, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the entire time, phone lines are down, guys. Phone lines are down. No more calling, okay? But thank you so much for everybody who's been calling in. I appreciate it, okay? But yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna be saying, because they got to have something. The knife sheath, is it enough or is it not? That's a question we'll be talking about tomorrow for sure. Miss Renee M, thank you so much for the 5. Hugs to everyone here. Thank you so much. Hugs back to you, Miss Renee. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Who's your mama? Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Thank you, love. All right. Hold on. Got a couple more. But this is all the way. We scrolling. Hold on, guys. Vicky, thank you so much for the 2. Oh, well, I closed the phone lines are down, but thank you so much for the 2. I appreciate it. Okay. Phone lines are down. Still looking. Hold on, guys. There it is. Pam Smith. Thank you so much, Pam Smith, for the 5. Do you think the family liked the phone lines are down? Hold on. Let me make sure. Okay. Am Smith, thank you so much for the 5. Do you think the family liked watching shows like the JD and documentaries that influenced him to take people's lives? You know what? I don't know. That's something that I wonder if they're going to be doing, like, diving in and studying the family as well, before this trial and all that. But the family's not the one on trial. He is. So we'll see. We'll see. Candy44, thank you so much for the $2 super sticker. Thank you so very, very much. And I do also think that, like, this might make room for the sister to start writing a book, or the mother or father starting to write a book about, like, raising their son and what he was like growing up, so on and so forth. If he is convicted, of course, because again, this is innocent till proven guilty. Of course, he is guilty by the court of public opinion. But like I said, we will see what's going on here. It's wild stuff, guys. It's definitely some wild stuff. But again, so much going on. The affidavit is just a snippet, because that stuff was redacted. That's just a snippet of the information that we do know. I'm sure they have more graphic details about the scene in that house, so on and so forth. We're going to find out more. We will. Hopefully we get it from something solid, a credible source, not just some BS. That's what I'm hoping for, okay? That we get it from solid places, court documents, etc., not just from Reddit or from some chat room you find on Facebook. You know what I mean? We get some solid information so that we don't start spreading all this crazy amount of the wrong information out here, okay? But anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot, seriously. Without you guys, I'd be talking to a wall. So I appreciate everybody for being here, being a part of the conversation, being a part of the chaos. We went through a lot today, tonight. We had a lot to talk about. I will be on later tomorrow, probably around the afternoon time, where I will be bringing on somebody very special to talk about this trial, what to expect, talk more about this affidavit, and talk about this weapon, whether this weapon is really that important or not, to actually have it, not just the sheath, the actual weapon. Can he get convicted without the weapon? That's the question that I'd like to have answered. Because right now, from what we know, they may or may not have the actual weapon. And what they're letting us believe, they don't have nothing right now. So I'm wondering if they can make it stick. All right, guys. So anyway, I appreciate all y'all for being here, being a part of the conversation. Please go and check out my page, okay? My store, pascalmerch.com. I got some really great deals going on with hoodies, t-shirts, you name it, jogging suits, etc. Please go and check those out. Some really great deals, some really nice clothing, by the way, as well. And let me get this super chat really quick. Jo, thank you so much for the 7 Canadian. Maybe Dylan was the unconscious person, hence delay in 911 call. Fell unconscious from shock and fear, plus was drunk, making for delay in 911 call. Maybe that could very well be it too. That might be it. I can see that for sure. But anyway, guys, please be sure. So thank you so much for that support. I appreciate it. Please be sure to hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your name. Let's see it go past 1K before we end. Okay, we're this close to 1K on the likes. So hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way past 1K. A like doesn't cost a thing, so I really do appreciate that. And do not forget, again, to hit that subscribe button, baby. You know for a fact your boy's working hard out here in these streets, even late at night, to give you the conversations that you need. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Do something wonderful. Do something positive. And I'll see you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. See you guys tomorrow. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.